So Lotus is no longer exclusively a sports car brand. No, they are now family friendly because they have, like everybody, got their EV SUV, the Lotus Eletre, and soon they will have the Emeya, which they are branding as a Hyper GT. But I, like most petrol heads, not ready to go full EV. So that leaves just the Emeya, which I think is a proper Lotus with daily credentials. However, I'm a dad, so my car needs the ability to carry multiple children, take them to their clubs, pick them up from school. So it would seem with the current new Lotus lineup, I've run out of Lotuses. However, handily, Lotus did make the perfect car for petrolhead parents like me, the Evora. And today we are driving my Dream Evora, an Evora 400. Come on, let's get into it. My name's Ben, and welcome to DadCars. So I have previously driven on the channel an early launch edition Evora, a naturally aspirated Evora, and I was pleasantly surprised. I thought that would feel underpowered, but it wasn't. It was still a really wonderful level of performance. But by the end of this video, I'll tell you whether I feel having a supercharged one is essential and whether the additional money for a 400 is worth it. So sweetie, we've driven loads of cars, haven't we? And do you know what Daddy thinks is his perfect car? Something with about 400 brake horsepower, rear wheel drive, manual gearbox, not particularly heavy, and steering's really important to me, and Lotus has the best steering in the world. Daddy used to have a Lotus Elise before you pickles came along, but I need rear seats as well. And do you know what I've just described? I've just described my ideal car, the car that I'm driving right now, the Lotus Evora 400. But you might be wondering, why have I got a child seat in the front if there are rear seats? Well, look, let me show you. Right, getting in the back of an Evora is always good fun. Oh, here we go. So, I'm 5'11" with a very long torso, and there's just simply nowhere near enough headroom, obviously, as you would expect. So teenagers will struggle in the back unless it's just a short journey. So these seats are really just for younger children. You know, Lotus made this car to be a dad car, which is why I believe from the Evora 400 onwards, Lotus simplified the rear bench in the back. Previously, there was a lot of padded sculpting to the seats, but because they are just for young children, and obviously young children you've got to put in some form of child seat up until 135 centimetres. So these completely flat, simplified seat cushions just maximise the space for you to be able to get your chosen child seat in the back. Here's an example of an Isofix booster seat, and I'm pleased to say that because the roofline does curve up, you can extend it up to a fairly decent height, certainly a lot more so than what you get in the back of a Jag XK. So you have both Isofix and top tether points in the back of an Evora 400. Although interestingly, I can't really access the Isofix points. I mean, my fingers are absolutely squished there. So this seat base here appears to be just Velcroed in. So what I would do, if this was my car, is take this off and then maybe have to take this off as well, you know, in order to get the Isofix in. If anybody has an Evora 400 and has put Isofix child seats in the back, please let us know in the comments below what it is that you had to do. So I tried to get one of my Swedish Plus rear-facing seats in the back, and there just wasn't enough space, even with the front passenger seat moved all the way forward. So I'm going to put it in the front instead, because you can switch off the passenger side airbag in Evoras. This child seat that I've got here is arguably the safest child seat in the world. It's Swedish Plus tested, and it gives space behind for you to have a couple of older children in high back booster seats. Right, let's go around this roundabout, shall we? So obviously on the DadCars channel, we tend not to go on a really spirited, twisty blast for obvious reasons, but just even just going around a roundabout, there's nothing like Lotus steering, is there? Oh, and this steering wheel in the hand as well just feels so wonderful. It's the perfect width, and it's got some shapes as well, so you know exactly where your hand is on the wheel. And just generally in here, as a previous owner of an S2 Elise, this feels so special. A wonderful balance of refinement while still feeling like a Lotus. It's a lovely weight to the clutch. The gearbox feels really nice as well. God. Oh, honestly, look, every time I drive a Lotus, I'm reminded just how much I love them and why I love them. Oh, so much feel from the road.
but still a good level of refinement as well. It really is true. You could daily an Evora, definitely. Oh, the sound of the exhaust as well. So delightful. I am a huge fan of bright red interiors. I think it makes any car feel really, really special. And the subtle outer colour on this car combined with the full red interior, oh, what a wonderful spec. The only thing that I'd ideally want in my Evora is full leather, not Alcantara, because Alcantara and children is not the best mix. And the Evora for me is a rare case where I don't think there's a clear winner in the looks department. Normally for me, in time, when you look back at cars, take for example the Peter Stevens designed Lotus Esprit, I think the original Peter Stevens design is a perfect looking Lotus. And comparatively, I actually don't like the final revision of the Esprit, the V8. However, with the Evora, I don't think there's any clear winner. There are some nice things about the simplicity of the original Evora, and then the facelift styling is notably more aggressive, and I must say I do really like this one. And then the final one, I think if you pushed me for an answer, I'd say of the three main sort of facelifted revisions, I'd say that I prefer this one the best, but it's not a clear win for me. The reason the Evora is just so appealing to me is that it gives you a supercar experience. You know, people seeing these on the road, I mean, this looks every bit a supercar. The actual experience whilst you're driving it as well. I mean, here as the driver, this is a supercar experience, but you don't need a supercar salary to own and maintain one of these. I mean, this car's last service was about £320. Miles per gallon, real world with mixed driving, is going to be around 25 miles per gallon. Yep, you don't have an exotic Italian V8 sat behind you, but you have a rock solid supercharged Toyota V6. And so what, you might not get the same level of respect at the next cars and coffee meet as somebody who turns up in a Ferrari. Well, I've got an interesting point on that. This morning, I checked Auto Trader. To see how many Evoras are up for sale. And of all Evora models, there's 27 for sale on Auto Trader. I then checked Ferrari 488s, and there is 127 Ferrari 488s up for sale. In fact, there are 38 488 Pistas up for sale, which makes the Evora a significantly rarer sight out on the roads. And look, personally for me, maybe it's because I'm a Lotus fan and because they've got the rear seats, but if I was at a cars and coffee meet and someone turned up in a 488 and someone turned up in a Evora 400, I'd be much more excited to go over and talk to the Evora 400 owner. In fact, I think that is my only complaint about the Evora, is that they weren't purchased in very big numbers, so they are very finite. And that means that they're not depreciated. You know, even the cheapest, ropiest, earliest Lotus Evora, naturally aspirated one, you know, the only cars I ever see go for like 20 grand or slightly less are ones which are crash repaired categorized cars, or ones with sky high mileage that have got bodywork issues. So yeah, that's my only complaint about the Evora, is that every time I check the classifieds, they never seem to depreciate any further. Right, so unfortunately, my little pickle has now fallen asleep. So if you were wondering whether this would be a comfortable enough car to actually use as a semi-daily, there's your answer. She's fast asleep. But even with the small amount of driving I've already done in this car, I'm ready to proclaim that this is one of my favourite cars that I've ever driven. Before I give you my final word on whether I think the Evora 400 is worth the extra money or whether you should just go for one of the launch cars, a naturally aspirated Evora, and save the money, I need to say a massive thank you to this car's owner, Kate. Kate runs the Performance and Prestige Car Club, a wonderful car club based here in Hampshire with owners across all key marquees. And she was telling me earlier on about some of the wonderful things that they do. So if you are based in and around Hampshire and you're looking for a car club without the snobbery, I highly recommend you check out the Prestige and Performance Car Club, and I'll put a link in the description below. But a massive thank you once again to Kate for letting me drive my Dream Evora. Right, so summary time. Having driven my Dream Evora, the 400, and previously driving the Launch Edition naturally aspirated one, is it worth the extra money? Well, I can answer that in 2 points really. Yes, it's absolutely worth the extra money. The performance boost is notable. The improvements on the inside here, it all feels more special, although a nod to the earlier Evoras, they've got metal buttons, whereas this one's got plastic ones. So this is still my Dream Evora, but if I got to the point where I had the money to comfortably buy an earlier one, a naturally aspirated Evora, I would buy one in a heartbeat. Because look, here's the thing, if you're in that position, you want to get a 400, you've got the money to buy an earlier one, but you think you need to hold out and save up some more money, you know, you're missing out on making memories. You can always upgrade. However, what you can't do is you can't go back in time. And all the time that you're saving, you're missing out on making incredible memories in your wonderful Evora. And people who watch my videos to the end, those are the ones that I want subscribed to my channel. So please take a couple of seconds now to hit the subscribe button. And also hop into the comments below. What do you think is the sweet spot in the Evora range? For me, it's the 400. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And look, check out some of our other videos. We've done so many incredible dad car reviews. And I'll see you on the next one. Thanks guys, bye-bye.